What does it look like to use the Early Start Denver model to encourage learning through play and routines? In this episode, we'll show you how to bring developmental goals to life during everyday moments, whether it's snack time, cleanup, or free play. The ESDM approach helps you teach through joyful, natural interactions. So tune in to discover how every moment can become a meaningful learning opportunity without disrupting the flow of play. Hi, I'm Shira.
And I'm Shayna. We're behavior analysts who create weekly content about how to teach children with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little easier. Today's topic is all about using the ESDM or the Early Start Denver model to embed goals in daily routines. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases.
So if any of you remember learning how to drive, that process looks like you take a bunch of in-class lessons, you have to get your permit, you write a test, you read a book, and you take a bunch of technical theory lessons. You learn all about the rules, and they may even show you some pictures or videos, but that's not enough to actually learn how to drive. After you do that, you really have to get in the car with an instructor. And no matter how much you've learned the in class or how many hours you did, there's still a lot more to learn once you're actually in the car. And you need the instructor to be there to guide you through that, natural driving process. And it's really similar with a lot of the skills that our learners are using. We could tell them about it and we could show it to them. And we could even learn it in an isolated setting. But without that really natural practice, it's really not the same.
Do you remember that? Taking your driver's test and being like, I got this, I can drive, and you get in the car and you're like, whoa, how do I actually put this thing in reverse, right? Anyways, what is the ESDM? ESDM stands for the Early Start Denver model, and it's very similar to naturalistic or incidental teaching. But what does this actually mean? So when I think of the Early Start Denver model, I think of something called the sensory social routines. And we've done a whole podcast episode on sensory social routines. It's podcast number 208. So check that out. We'll talk a little bit more about them here as well. But really, the Early Start Denver model is meant for those kids who are really young. So I'm not sure if you've had any learners who, are almost too young or too low for the ABLES or even the VB map. You're looking at the VB map and it says 0 to 18 months, but you're not really able to fill out anything on it. Well, the ESDM breaks things down even further. It was developed by Sally Rogers and Lori Vitsmara, and it is great. It even talks about things like, does your learner follow a point? But not only do they follow a point, but do they follow a point to pick something up? Do they follow a point to put a puzzle piece in? Do they follow a point to go throw something in the garbage? So it really, really breaks it down. Do they, reach? Do they point themselves? Do they point because they want something? Do they point to show you something? Do they respond to receptive instructions? Do they request? But how do they request? Is it verbal? Is it with is it with a sound? Is it with sign language? Is it actually just bringing you something and showing it to you to request, open it or that kind of thing? So it really, really breaks it down. And I use it a lot, especially with the really little ones. So let's talk about how we do this.
Yeah, what I really like about it is it really focuses on a lot of pivotal foundational skills. So instead of teaching a whole bunch of different tasks or different targets and kind of checking off the targets as you go along, it really focuses on early engagement, joint attention, because once, a child can learn those skills, then, the world opens up to them. Then they can learn so many more things without needing, real contingencies between each one of those learning trials. So it really focuses on building up a lot of those pivotal skills in a really early learner, which is a great time to do that, right? Their brains are still developing and they have so much potential to make new connections. And that's a really great part of it. The other thing I like about it is it does give some of a developmental norm. A lot of the other assessments that we use in ABA don't really have developmental norms, but this gives you an idea of an appropriate skill for an 18-month-old, an appropriate skill for 24-month-olds, and you can kind of place your learner within the range of where they're lying developmentally, which some parents really want to know.
And really, the ESDM, people are like, well, what do I use? Do I use ESDM? Do I use, ABA? ESDM is ABA. It really does blend ABA strategies with child-led play-based interactions. And, a lot of things that are on the ESDM, it's not about discrete trial teaching because you know what? You take a baby, you take somebody who's 18 months old or even 24 months old, and you're not putting them at a table and showing them flashcards. You're down on the ground with them. So essentially, you're getting down to the child's level where they are, meet them where they're at, but physically meet them where they're at too. So get down on the floor, get in front of them, really, get really over exaggerated and over animated with all of your play interactions and really try to embed some ABA strategies into play. So, really, what does this look like? I mean, Sharon and I could probably talk about this for hours and hours and hours. So we thought, let's do a CEU on this because we can. So we're going to be doing a CEU on early start Denver model and really like play with purpose. So we're going to integrate the ESDM and naturalistic teaching. And it's on Thursday, October 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. If you're listening to this podcast and it's past October 9th, we'll record the CEU so you can get it asynchronously as well.
Okay, so what does that actually mean to embed goals in daily routine? So we talked a little bit about the example of driving a car, and the reason it's so important is because you're generalizing all of those skills that you learned through the textbook and the workbook and the classes. Now you're generalizing that skill. So if it becomes real and you're doing it in the real life environment, how much more engaged are you going to be and able to generalize the skills that, you may have thought were important because somebody told that to you, but now you realize like this is really important because I have to get from A to B. It also when a child is engaged in something that they enjoy, then they're less likely to want to escape that teaching interaction because it's fun for them. So it's not just about do something that I want you to do so that you get access to the thing you want to do. This whole teaching interaction is what you want to do. You want to play with blocks, so we're going to build a tower and we're going to knock it down and we're going to make it as much fun as possible and put as many teaching opportunities into that interaction as we can. And that's fun for the learner. So we wouldn't need to use, compliance strategies or things that we want them to stay for, because they're going to want to stay. And that really just promotes like joyful learning, natural learning. It's, inherent motivation. They want to be there. And that's a lot about what we talk about. Like we want our learners to love the thing that we're doing. And that's on us to create an environment and an interaction that's fun for them.
So here's an idea. So just a real life example. I'm working with, if you listen to other podcasts, I talk about my baby a lot. I'm working with a young kid with autism, and he is, well, between 18 months and 2 years now. And I'm doing ESDM with him, and he's thriving. So Shira said, it boosts generalization. I'm going to go one step further and say, I'm not teaching at the table and then generalizing. I'm actually teaching in the natural environment. And it creates generalization right from the get-go. But an example with toy play, for instance, he really likes those car ramps, and he likes watching the cars go down the ramp. And he's got this like double car ramp thing. It's pretty cool. And he likes to shoot multiple cars down there at a time. So if I am not around, he's going to be doing that, and he's going to be doing it, for ages and ages. So I come into the interaction and I play with him, and the very first thing I do is really just like face to face with him. The car ramp is in between us, but I'm still facing him, and I'm not putting any demand on him. I'm just making comments. I'm super over animated. Wow, look at that. That's super fun. What does he do? He shifts his attention from the cars to me and back to the cars. Guess what? That's joint attention. It's all I wanted right from the get-go. I'm not really placing many more demands than that. And then what I do is after a few of those, hey, whoa, and I'm like, what have you, I take a car, but I'm not requiring him to ask for it or anything. I take the car, I put it at the top of the ramp, and I put it down. Well, that's kind of fun. Like I'm getting it in the right spot because he got it in the right spot and what have you. Okay. So he allows me to touch his stuff. And then what do? I take the cars, and then the car it goes off the table, and I point to the car and I say, hey, like it's over there, go get it. And he's now following a point and going to get that car. So I'm embedding goals from the ESDM. And again, keep in mind, he's young, young, young. So these are the goals he needs. Following a point, making joint attention, to go and then put it down the car ramp. We're now at the stage, we've done all that. We're at that stage where he can follow a point, he can copy me, he makes that joint attention. But I need him to start requesting more, and he's not. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking cars, and again, keep in mind, he likes two or three cars down that ramp at once. So as soon as they come down that ramp, I've got them and I'm holding them in my hands, and I say, which one do you want? And then he points to the one he wants, and I label it and I give it, oh, the red one, here you go. And that's it. So really my goal for this playtime is just making a choice between the two cars. And this can go on for, I would say, about 5 minutes. And then he's a baby. His attention is gone. And then we go play chase or we go do something else and we can come back to the cars. But that's how I build in that imitation into toy play.
And there's so many other, scenarios and real life examples that happen so many times throughout the day that you don't need to teach a skill to a learner just in an ABA session at a table by themselves. You can use so many opportunities throughout the day to teach so many meaningful skills. Some examples are, using snack time to teach like pointing, labeling, making choices, requesting, like obviously don't take away their snack and make them work for it. But it's a great opportunity for conversation and for talking about what the friend next to you has, and labeling the foods that they have and which is their favorite, and depending on the age of the learner. There's also so many, Shana gave the example of car ramps. Like pick another toy situation. It could be a dollhouse, it could be blocks, and really look at how you can incorporate joint attention, turn taking, imitation. That way you don't have to teach it in a discrete trial setting and then generalize it. You're teaching it within a motivating interaction. And the same would go with any, situation we have in the classroom. All of our students are working off of IEP goals, and those goals happen throughout the day. So anytime a student is transitioning, we're working on following instructions. Anytime a student is coming to circle time, we're working at sitting nicely or attending to the teacher. And these are goals that happen throughout meaningful, real life opportunities. And that's really how ideally learning is going to happen.
I think about play and I think about, okay, in 15 minutes of play, I go, oh, 15 minutes? My baby couldn't do 15 minutes of
A
sustained
long
play. It's a long
time.
time. But I'm talking about like 3 minutes. And then, we play chase for 30 seconds because he needs to get his sillies out. And then we go on to something else. And it kind of looks like a pinball machine bouncing from like activity to activity. But, in 15 minutes of that, I think about how many goals I can hit. And there's so, so many. So, we talk about the social, like the joint attention. And, then we talk about language skills, whether that be verbal language or even, nonverbal language, the cognitive stuff. I'm even teaching him to put puzzle pieces in, receptive language, that kind of stuff too. And I'm also teaching some regulation skills, right? He's got to get up and move. He's young, go. But if he's, if someone's older and they like playing with dolls or even cars, maybe we can pretend with the props and act out a scenario that, they've encountered in their life and, do it through play instead. So, we can make sure that we're doing all of this within the natural environment without really disrupting that flow.
Okay, it does require a little bit of planning because, first of all, for a lot of us oldies, play is a little bit hard. Okay, so prepare the things that you need. Also, like we get so caught up in like data and data sheets and programs that like we don't want that there while you're playing. So we actually have a really nice, quick and easy ESDM beginner data sheet that is a simple rating scale kind of check off that you do at the end of session because we don't want that to get in the way of any of the play. We want you as the instructor, as the BCBA or RBT to be fully focused on that learner. So do whatever you need to do to prepare for that. Preparing the toys that they're going to love. One of the fun challenges I like to give some of the therapists is see if the only things that you say to that learner is a comment and not a question. See if you can never ever ask a question. It's a challenge I like to give myself also. Anytime I'll like go into a classroom and start interacting with any of the students, I try to like, okay, only say, and it's hard because like you want to say like, what are you playing with? Or what color is your shirt? And I challenge myself to be like, oh, you're playing blocks and you're wearing a blue shirt. I love that. And you have to like really focus on changing that. And that's a big part of the ESDM because you don't want, like Shana was saying, it's a question is a demand. And we really want the learners to be comfortable, safe, settled, and not feel like, oh, there's an adult here, and that means that there's a demand on me. So And that should be, genuine, like genuinely try to form that relationship. And none of the relationships I think you have in real life are based on question, answer, question, answer. And so we do the same thing with our really young learners in that relationship building phase. We're just there for them. We're commenting. We're making things more fun, not harder than they were without us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm laughing. I'm like the relationships question, answer, question, answer. I'm like my mother. Oh, wait, me and my daughter. I think it's like a generation thing, right? Just yep, nope, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but with the ESDM then too, you're building that relationship, you're building that rapport, you're building in goals into the play, into the teaching, or building in those teaching goals. But you can also teach parents. If you're doing a lot of parent coaching, or even if you're not, I recommend doing parent coaching and really try to embed learning into specific interactions that parents can have with their kids. So for instance, bath time, right? With bath time, you can teach imitation skills in bath. You can teach body parts, following directions. You can teach goofy playthings if they've got some toys and stuff in the bathtub. At mealtime, there's lots of requesting that can go on at meals. Like I said, you're not withholding meals, but even just like, oh, hey, you want a bigger scoop of that or a smaller scoop? Do you want, this or that? Do you like, favorites? Do you like this one? Do you like that one? Oh, those kinds of things, right? Within play, lots of imitation skills again within play, that joint attention, labeling, emotional regulation. Like I could just go on and on and on about things that you can embed into learning. And this is how, we should be teaching parents. When I first started, in this field, we would teach some parents ABA training. And like I remember having a parent sit in the chair, like right, the discrete trial instruction chair, and their 3-year-old was at the table, and I tried to teach the parent, okay, clap your hands and say do this, and the parent would be like, clap hands. I'm like, no, 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 clap your hands, but you need to say do this, do this, do this. The parent's like, clap your hands. And I'm trying to teach the parent direct instruction for their 3-year-old. Like that parent is not doing discrete trial teaching with their 3-year-old, but that parent is giving their 3-year-old a bath and wanting to have fun and interact with their child while their child's taking a bath. So trying to teach more fun things to parents is also way more motivating for parents to learn than sitting in a chair and trying to learn do this.
We also very often recommend the book An Early Start for Your Child with Autism. It doesn't have to be just for kids with autism, but it is a really great book for parents because it breaks down a lot of really good, everyday routines and offers some good suggestions and goals of ways to like extend that routine, make it more fun within play, within mealtime. A lot of those are really great. And I think if parents really appreciated the impact that they could make on their child's ability to play and socialize and interact and be engaged, we can help explain to them why it's so important and coach them through how to do that within so many routines.
Yeah, and like I said before, we're doing that CEU on Thursday, October 9th, all about integrating ESDM and just playing with purpose. So come check that out as well. The ESDM research shows so much, right, that it really does improve language and adaptive skills and even IQ. Really what I've seen just working with, a younger learner and doing a lot of ESDM is really just that engagement and social communication that I could never seem to get from just discrete trial teaching. So I love it and I could talk for hours about it. So come hear us chat for at least an hour on it at the CEU.
Right. I mean, not all kids end up being able to learn naturally, but if they can, this is a great way to get them started early because that's really the goal, that our kids can learn naturally, right? Through daily life, through play, and through connecting with others.
Yeah, and it's more fun for therapists too, right? Doing that than it is sitting at a table going, okay, do this. Anyway, for more information on how the Early Start Denver model brings learning into everyday moments, click the link on and around this video or in the description to join our next live CEU event. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future videos and leave a like and comment below if you have further questions.